Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. You may already know that I now have the 10-watt Vista Laser Engraver and Cutter from WeCreat, and I'm loving it. I've been trying out all kinds of different things, and you may have seen me use it in a couple of videos already. Now, I've used wood so far with this and loved it. There's so many things you can do, but I wanted to try something else, and I thought engraving a ceramic tile might be very useful in my projects, so that's what I'm doing today. If you would like to know how you can engrave a ceramic tile and make something similar to this was my first attempt. I will be making something different in today's video, but if you'd like to know how it went, stay tuned and enjoy the video. So here's the ceramic tile I'm using today. It's a nice glossy one. Matte or gloss will work. It just needs measuring so that I can use the measurements in the software, which you'll see in a minute. And it also needs spraying with line marker spray. I discovered this tip from Corvus Moon Studio, which I'll leave a link to in the video description. In his video, he explains that you need to spray paint your ceramic tile before you can successfully engrave it. And the spray paint needs to include titanium. It's the titanium which is the magic ingredient. Now, he recommends using line marker spray, which I've got here from Amazon, because that includes the titanium, but you can also wash it off your tile nice and easily. So I gave it a good shake, took it outside with the tile and gave it one coat of the spray paint, and it worked perfectly. So there it is, all sprayed and dried and ready for engraving. And the great thing is that line marker spray will just wash off so easily afterwards. If I'd used a proper spray paint, I would have had to use acetone to get it off. So let's get my image ready to engrave in the WeCreat Make It software. I selected the rectangle option from the menu on the left, and then I changed the measurements to the measurements of my tile. Next, I imported my mandala image, which I'd found on Creative Fabrica, and downloaded it from there. So yeah, I just imported that, and here I'm just resizing it until it's kind of the right size onto the tile shape, and then I could crop it down where I wanted to crop it in the image editing option. So for now, I don't need the rectangle anymore. I'm just going to be engraving that image. So I'm just going to put ignore for processing on the rectangle, as you can see there. So it's still there for when I need it later, but it won't be used in this part that's coming up now. So anyway, let's get the settings. I've already saved it under customization, the settings which I found worked well for ceramic tiles, but I will tell you the settings I used. So this is a bitmap engraving, and the settings are 100 power, 155 speed and a line density of 100. I am still just a beginner at this, and I'm sure with some tweaking I can get my image to look even better than it did, but that did work. You just need to play around with it until you're happy with your results. So let's get engraving. So I'm going to put the engraving onto a time lapse because it took about 25 minutes and you wouldn't want to be watching it for that length of time. So there we are, as if by magic, it's finished. And the reason I didn't pick it up straight away was because I was trying to decide whether to process it again to get a darker engraving. But in the end, I decided I quite liked that grey engraving rather than a dark black. So that engraving is now completely permanent. Nothing will wipe it off. It's engraved right into the glaze of the ceramic tile. Once the engraving was finished, all that was left to do was to wash off the excess line marker paint. And here I've just got some warm soapy water. It's just dish soap and a scouring sponge. And I'm just rubbing off the paint, and it's as simple as that. Right then, I wanted my tile to be mounted within a wooden frame. And that was very easy to do. So I went back to my workspace, got rid of the design, I don't need that anymore. And I've still got that original rectangle that I drew, which is the exact size of the tile. So I'm keeping that. Now I need another rectangle, slightly bigger, to go around that as the edge of my serving platter, or whatever you would like to call it. I decided I wanted space at one end to put a jar onto, so I made it as long as I possibly could to keep it fitting on the canvas. And there you can see it automatically finds when you've got it central, which is really good. You get a line going down the middle when it's found that you've got it central. So that was really good, and that was ready. Now I'm just making a circle to fit my jar into. I thought it would be really nice to have a recessed area to put the jar into. I already knew how big the jar would be, and I made the circle a little bit bigger. I wanted to cut out 2 of these, so with my 3 shapes arranged, I dragged my mouse over all those red shapes, copied and then pasted, so I had the whole thing 2 times. I clicked auto measure, and when you do that you get a preview of the inside of your WeCreat Vista because it's got an inbuilt camera. So there you can see the wood already in place in there, and I can move the designs around to make sure I'm using all of the wood and not, nothing's going to be missing. So it's really a good feature. I love that. I'm using the basswood settings, which is 100% power and 5 speed, and it's just 1 pass. So I've left it in real time just for a short amount of time, just so you could get to see the kind of speed you would expect when it's cutting 3mm basswood. And there you can see it's kind of slow and steady, but what I love about this with wood is that it doesn't scorch the wood. I do have a different laser engraver, and whenever I cut wood with it, it scorches it. So yeah, that's one thing I really do love about this. So there we have 2 identical pieces, and they're all perfectly cut. They just have to lift them out. Nothing's needing any extra cutting, it's just perfect. So yeah, very happy with that. I've got one more piece to do, and that's the base piece. And for the base piece, all I need to keep for now is the outer rectangle. We don't need that small inner one because there'll be no hole in this one. And we need to keep the circle just for a moment until I position the design in the right place, because I want to engrave the design where the circle is. I'm only using that circle in the centre of the design, so I had a look to see how it would look there, and then I went into the edit image option again and cropped it so that it was just a bit bigger than the circle. With the image resized and in position, it was time to cut and engrave my final piece. Next, I took some dark oak wood stain just for the top layer and carefully brushed it on, following the direction of the grain. Then I applied PVA glue to the backs of the top 2 pieces, then fitted all 3 pieces together. And then I left it underneath something very heavy while the glue dried. You could just use clamps, but it's just as easy to put something heavy on top. Once it was all dry, all I needed to do was coat it with some cutting board wax to make it completely sealed and food safe. I would recommend adding 2 or 3 layers. With that finished, all that was left was to add the tile. Now, my tile did fit very, very snugly, and once I'd got it in there, I wasn't sure if it would come out again. So I didn't actually glue it into position. What I would ideally like is for it to come out a little bit easier, so that if I do use it for food or something, I can just easily take it out and wash the tile without having to, immerse the wood in water. I wouldn't really be wanting to do that. So I didn't glue it in because it was very snug, but I would like it to come out a little bit easier. So next time, if I did it again, I would make my hole slightly bigger. So with that job completed, I wanted to make my jar. So here I'm weighing out my Aquacast Eco Resin and some water and mixing it together, and then it's ready to pour into the mould. I'm going through this all very quickly because yeah, it's not really a video about making jars. I just wanted to show you very quickly how I made it, and then I'm going to engrave the lid. After an hour it was cured enough to demould, and as you can see here I've gone for a nice simple white for the jar and a pale grey for the lid. Before engraving the lid I applied plenty of wax to the top because I'm going to be painting into the engraving later on, and I want to be able to easily wipe off the excess, and the wax on there really helps if it's added before the engraving. And I don't seem to have the footage of the screen recording that I thought I'd done. So I will have to put the settings for engraving Aquacast on the screen because offhand I can't think of what they are. I'll have to go and have a look on my computer. Anyway, here it is, and you can see just about, hopefully, how nicely the Aquacast is engraving. And there it is finished. I think it looks great. In fact, I could have left it like that, and I actually wish I had. But never mind. I did decide to add some black paint into the engraved areas. And when it was all completely covered, whilst the paint was still wet, I wiped away all the surface paint. And even though I preferred it without the paint, it's good to be able to show you another technique. So here it is. Isn't it cool? I really like that. I think it could be used for all kinds. I think it's going to have salt in it, actually. And then you can put like sliced tomatoes and things on there if you wanted to, couldn't you? But you could even use it for a candle and have something else on here. Yeah, I think it's versatile, this idea. It can be used for all sorts, can't it? So anyway, I hope it's inspired you. And you got a couple of bonuses, didn't you? Because it was supposed to be just the ceramic tile, but I ended up engraving the Aquacast and the wood as well. So 3 for 1. So yeah, that's it for today. Don't forget the links and discount codes will be in the video description, and I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.